Yes, Assalamualaikum and good day. My name is Rizal. I'm from the Center for Sport and Exercise Sciences, University of Malaya. And today I shall be talking about Taekwondo electronic body protectors. The title of the presentation will be Kicking Up a Fuss. What's the deal with Taekwondo electronic body protectors? This past probably 10 to 15 years, there has been a tremendous development in technology used for judging in sports. Some of it, as you may have known, is, for example, goal line technology, which is a big issue in the English Premier League, for example, as well as the other professional football leagues. It has been argued for probably maybe 5 to 6 years before it has been finally used this past year. The same goes for video assisted refereeing. While VAR was used in Premier League last year, and it created a huge impact, to say the least. And it was the rules for VAR has been adjusted for this year's Premier League, in a sense where the referee gets back the power to make a decision compared to last year. Other than technology in football, in tennis is technology has also been used. We have Hawkeye, which has been used for the past 3-4 years. In athletics, photo finish has been used for the past about 20-25 years. And more recently, in Taekwondo, there's also a big change. In the past 2 Olympics, the World Taekwondo has been using electronic padding to assist the judging of or scoring of points in Taekwondo. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And the argument that always comes around is whether technology is good or bad in terms of judging in sports. So the jury is still out on whether we should embrace this technology. There's a lot of argument, as I mentioned just now, especially in football. And it seems that every few months they will change or tweak the rule to accommodate a lot of different inputs from players, coaches, and other stakeholders. But scientifically speaking, if these technologies are proven to be reliable, there is really no reason for us not makes things a lot easier, and it also eliminates biasness, judgment calls from officials. So that's probably the biggest advantage of using technology. Now, in terms of Taekwondo and the protective scoring system, which in the PSS, which includes pad and socks for Taekwondo, it was supposed to remove subjective judgment of judges. Prior to this, if you kick the padding in Taekwondo, the judges will determine whether the kick is hard enough just by their eyesight. They will determine whether the kick is hard enough for a point to be given. So World Taekwondo introduced this electronic padding to actually detect whether the kick is hard enough, and if it passes a threshold, the points will be given. The issue is that the units itself were a cause of concern. There was argument whether it was reliable, whether it was not picking up the points that it was supposed to pick up, and so on. It was supposed to have a kinetic energy threshold whereby if the energy threshold is passed, that means if you kick hard enough, the sensor will pick it up and give the opponent a point. That's how technically it's supposed to work. So a couple of years ago, probably about 3 years ago, Ryan Chong, a former national athlete, a former Malaysian Taekwondo national athlete, came to me and said that, hey, he doesn't believe that this padding is actually picking up the points that it's supposed to. Sometimes he kicks hard and he doesn't get the points that what he assumes that he will get. So I will leave it to Ryan now He went on to become my postgrad student, and he's also graduated recently as well. And I'm going to leave it to Ryan now to talk about how he came about with the research question. So I'll just play a video now of Ryan and how he came about the research question.
Hi, my name is Ryan Chong. I was a national Taekwondo exponent, and I had my last international competition at Incheon Asian Games in 2014. I also had my bachelor degree and master degree from University of Malaya, and currently I'm a Taekwondo instructor in my own Taekwondo club called International Taekwondo Academy. So let me first explain about the Taekwondo scoring competition, which have evolved from a subjective scoring system to an objective scoring system. In the subjective scoring system, points of exponent were given manually by the judges based on their subjective interpretation, which sometimes being inconsistent and brought dissatisfaction among Taekwondo exponent and coaches. With technology innovation, the world governing body of Taekwondo has introduced the new scoring system, which is called Protected Scoring System, PSS, to support the judges' subjective judgment. And most importantly, this was introduced to eliminate biasness and also encourage transparency during Taekwondo competition, especially in the Olympic Games. As I was starting my master's degree program, I brought the idea of doing my research on the PSS to my university supervisor, Dr. Rizal Razman. I had plenty of questions towards the PSS as I was a national Taekwondo exponent who had a first-hand experience on this scoring system. With this brilliant idea, we managed to be little engineers of ourselves by creating mechanical testing apparatus. Both of us thought this topic would be an interesting topic, especially to the Taekwondo practitioners, because there were not many researchers that had been done towards this PSS. Interestingly, there were some researchers before us who have found the unreliability and inconsistency of the PSS. This has made us to be much more curious to know about the PSS. The most common questions regarding the PSS were how much of teaching impact was needed to register a valid score, and which part of the West has the highest sensitivity to score. Most Taekwondo exponents, coaches, and even myself have experienced that high-impact kicks were unable to register a score, but sometimes low-impact kicks were able to. This has put many Taekwondo practitioners to have doubt towards the PSS, even though this scoring system is a recognized and a sanctioned brand by World Taekwondo, and it has been used in the Olympic Games since 2012. After all, with the data and result of this research, it will benefit the coaches and exponents to have an upper hand and advantage to improvise and strategize their gameplay or training method. For example, exponents may need to aim for a specific area on the electronic body protector, or having a specific teaching techniques to have a higher chance of scoring and winning. We hope that with this research, it will be able to clear some of our doubts towards the PSS. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. So that's how we came about the question about and how we came about to starting this research. So as mentioned by Ryan just now, previously there was two group of researchers that actually looked into this. Tasika in 2013 as well as Ramazana Noglu in 2013 as well, that had preliminary studies on the padding. Now, the main limitation for both of their studies was that for Tasika, he did a drop ball method where they dropped a ball, a weighted ball onto the padding. While for Ramazana Noglu's study, he did a spring-loaded artificial foot. Now, the problem with both of these studies was that both of the weighted apparatus pretty much stick onto the padding. which is unlike a real Taekwondo kick, where if you kick a padding, the foot only lands on the padding for a few milliseconds. So we believe that that might have affected the piezoelectric sensors within the padding and might have skewed some of the results. So the plan was to investigate whether the PSS was reliable and whether the values displayed were valid, and we wanted to do it in a more rigorous, using rigorous experimental methods. So the plan was to first of all randomly pick padding, a body padding with socks that is in use by the Taekwondo body. So we picked one, and then the biggest, probably the biggest hurdle that we need to overcome was to manufacture a kick that is repeatable. Obviously, we can't use humans to kick it because we can't control for the speed of the kick. So we need to build a test rig. So this took up probably the biggest amount of time in the study. And so we custom built a test rig, and we built it. The trick was to build it with a slight angle, and we also to make it consistent, we use pendulum. So pendulum, as you know, is driven by gravity, so it is very consistent, extremely consistent in fact. And we built it at a slight angle. You can see the slanted stands over here. So because of the slight angle, the pendulum and the weight on the pendulum actually doesn't stick onto the padding. So it bounces off after it hits the padding, which pretty much mimics a real Taekwondo kick. So this particular apparatus has been filed for patent. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have a patent for this as well. So first of all, we tested the apparatus whether whether it was reliable enough. So we swung the pendulum 50 times over 2 days, or 100 times in total, and we tracked the velocity of the pendulum using 3D motion capture. As expected, there was no significant difference between both days, which pretty much confirms that the pendulum was extremely reliable. And then we disassembled the pendulum itself and measured the moment of inertia of the pendulum so that we can find the actual kinetic energy of the pendulum, because we wanted to validate the values given out by the padding later on. So we disassembled and we measured the moment of inertia, and then we found that the kinetic energy of the pendulum in each swing is around 55 joules. So then we went to the experimental protocol itself. We broke down the padding to 12 different sections, and for each section we hit it 50 times, and we hit it 50 times for 2 days. So basically in total we smashed the padding 1,200 times over 2 days. The thing with padding is that there is no protocol from the manufacturer or from World Taekwondo to say, hey, before a competition, you need to trial run the padding, or we need to test the padding or validate the padding. So basically, if you have this padding, you can use it, and whatever values that they give out, you just have to use it. So that is pretty remarkable for a sport that is, which is an Olympic sport. So we would have assumed that they would have been a bit more particular about how they test the padding. So this is how we tested the padding, and we found that for reliability, there was only 3 areas that had no significant difference over 2 days. So out of the 12 different areas, only 3 were anywhere near reliable, which is pretty bad for Olympic-based sport. And this particular unit of PSS, this one that we tested on, using homologous statistics, we found that it's only 16.7% reliable, which is kind of ridiculous. And for validity, the displayed kinetic energy of the PSS was significantly different compared to the actual energy from the pendulum. And the range was huge. So even though we hit it with the same pendulum, the range of values that it showed ranges from 20 to 40. The values that we calculated for the pendulum itself was around 55 joules. So it was not reliable, and the values that it gave out were not valid. Now, basically, the PSS was questionable. Now, this is for one PSS unit. Now, we wonder how the other units are doing as well. This is for one unit, and it fared so badly in the test. Now, based on this, we highly recommend that the system is examined exhaustively before being used in any future tournaments. Have a set protocol, some sort of pre-competition testing. So each unit that is to be used for any future tournament needs to go through a rigorous pre-competition testing, so that all the coaches, all the exponents are at ease in terms of the technology that is being used, so that they can compete in peace without equipment being used is faulty or giving out biased readings. Now, if we look at it another way, we also found that there are certain sections that a bit more sensitive than the others, as well as certain sections that are less sensitive than the others. Meaning that if you kick, for example, section 9 of the padding, section 9, when we split out the pads, section 9 of the padding, it was actually extremely, there's a lack of sensitivity. So meaning that you might kick that particular section really hard, but it might not pick up and give you a score. While section 2 and 7 were extremely sensitive, meaning that if you were to kick these sections, it will easily give out points. So in terms of a performance advantage, I mean, if we actually get the raw values for each pads, we can coaches and exponents can actually change their tactical approach to actually target certain parts of the body padding, which is actually not very good for the sport in that sense. So back to the question about technology in judging. Personally, I believe that technology should be used to some extent in judging. And again, we go back to the example of football. We have the video assisted referee as well as the goal line technology, for example. Now, I believe that the judgment calls should still go to a human, which VAR has been doing for this current season, where they provide video feedback for the referee, but the referee still makes the call. As opposed to, for example, goal line technology, whereby that if the ball passes the line, the referee gets a signal, and they will accept whatever the technology gives out, whatever results the technology gives out. So if the goal line tag says that it's a goal, the referee has no option but to accept that call. So that, in that sense, the technology itself needs to be validated, and we have to check its reliability as well. So the same thing goes for the Taekwondo padding. It's pretty much a black box for coaches and for exponents. They have no idea what's going on in the system. They only know whether the score is being taken into account or the score is not counted, which is quite bad. And for me, the researchers in the academic line, we need to help evaluate all this new equipment that comes out that are being used for judging. Now we need to do that, and as you can see in the study that we just did, the values are way off the charts. I mean, the padding that we took randomly was not reliable at all. It was not giving out any useful, valid values. And we wonder how is it being used for Taekwondo tournaments, you know. Now, we have to do this because we have to ensure that there is a level playing field. Otherwise, you know, you might disappoint a lot of athletes that work very hard to try to reach the top. And, you know, for Taekwondo, it's an Olympic sport. So it goes all the way right to the top. And this is the papers that we looked at, the two previous papers, Tasika and Ramazanalogu's paper. And this is the paper that we published in the Journal of Sports Engineering and Technology. So if you want to refer further on the full paper, it's you can look it up at the Journal of Sports Engineering and Technology. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.